Bigfoot in the lead at 10.37 seconds. King Kong has to beat that. Look at King Kong go. Look at him go. Hey, that's a great run. King Kong is really bouncing around. Really bouncing around. Oh, hey, this is going to be a good time. Most famous trucks in America today. The Gravedigger. Now, this is crazy. The Gravedigger is a Ford panel van. I've seen him race many times. And I tell you, he can go nuts. Let's watch him. The Gravedigger from Chesapeake, Virginia. Dennis Anderson. Get your cameras out, everybody. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thrill. He goes nuts. Here he goes. Look at this. Look at this. No. Look at this. No. I don't believe. No. No. Oh, Dennis Anderson has turned it loose. Let's go, you Gophers. Cheer on the Minnesotan. Here he comes. They're ready to turn it loose. Here he comes. King Kong comes over. Look at him go. Look at him go. Hey, he's really down. He's almost ready. Well, barely. Oh, and Barely Tame has come to a halt on that last car. King Kong number 3 making it look easy. Did you see the tire speed that he had? He had lane choice. He went for the left lane. We're going to need a loader or a forklift to pick up Barely Tame. Let's see how it turns out. Here we go. Barbarian. Here comes Bigfoot. Look at Bigfoot get up. Rick Hughes, you're gone over. Here goes Barbarian. It's going to be close. Bigfoot hits the cars. Oh, look at him go. Oh, my word. All right, now we go to Leadfoot. Remember, it was Leadfoot that had all kinds of problems. Ron Dennis from Flagstaff, Arizona. And you can see again, Leadfoot has got problems. Let's give him a nice round of applause, everybody. The Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter, out of Wadesville, North Carolina. Leadfoot has got all kinds of problems here tonight from Flagstaff, Arizona. The engine is hot. He's hot under the collar. He said, what do I got to do to win this thing?
Leadfoot loses the front left tire, and the Carolina Crusher advances to the second round.
Let's see what happens. There goes. And they're on their way now. Here they go. Austin Kong's got problems. Here comes Batman. Here comes Batman. Look at Austin Kong go. This is going to be close. Oh, my word. It was a much closer race than we had expected. Awesome Kong had problems getting off the line. But he does win it. He wins it by a matter of feet and seconds.
Awesome Kong wins it after a slow start.
Here we go. They're up and up. Here comes King Kong number 3. There he goes. King Kong number 3 up and over. Come on over, over. There they go. King Kong 3 continues on. They're ready to drop the flag. Here they go. Those Carolina Crushers in that age. And Bigfoot wins it, but the Carolina Crusher not far behind. Push the pedal to the metal. Turn it loose. Power against power. There they go. Question about it. And Awesome Kong does not even finish the race. Awesome Kong gives up. Lining it up. Here we go. The green light is on. Oh, 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 oh. I don't know. Did you see the wave? King Kong 3. Oh, my word. They do things wild and crazy in Texas, and they're going all out. They want to win. They think Bigfoot may be the guy they go against. I'll tell you, for a while, it didn't look like you were going to make it. Steve Dane, anything goes. The superstar. Here comes Bigfoot.
good. Everybody's running a lot harder as it gets to the finish line, but I think it's hard to say. I wasn't standing at the finish line, but I ran out there right now.
Dennis Anderson, congratulations. Gotta be, is it the biggest moment of your monster truck career?
Yeah, it is. I finally beat Bigfoot, the Kong brothers, the whole 9 yards.
All right, well, I'll tell you, you've beaten the best tonight, and the runner-up this evening made a great and valiant try. It was very close. Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Thank y'all very much for being here, too.
Steve Dane and King Kong were one shot away from the championship, but Gravedigger put them away.
All right, I did it.
And the monster trucks are back this afternoon in St. Paul for another battle royal. Last night's contest took its toll, and the teams have been hard at work through the night, repairing the damage. Can Gravedigger repeat his devastating win of last night? We'll find out soon enough as the monster trucks get ready to go at it once again.
Beautiful looking Ford called Awesome Kong. Here he goes. And he has got problems here this afternoon. And the Chevy fans take... And you can see what he really needs to do, ladies and gentlemen, is get rid of that Chevy engine and put in a Ford engine. It sounds like he's got fuel problems. With Awesome Kong, he's got to beat 10.75 seconds if he wants to take the lead. Here he goes. Oh, 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 oh. Look at him go. Look at him fly. Oh, a great qualifying run. And the time. Listen to this one. Steve Dane, a new Civic Center Arena record, 8.69 seconds. Dennis Anderson out of Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Hampton Roads area. The green light is on. Here he goes. He's up and over. There he goes. Look at him fly through the air. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, he's off the left-hand side, but a great time. Unbelievable. He doesn't back out of it for 1 minute. And we have another new record. 7.59. Certainly you'd like to win this event here this afternoon. Who do you think your toughest competition is going to be?
I'd have to say it's going to be Bigfoot and the Kong brothers.
It's going to be good heads-up competition. Here they go. Oh, oh, I tell you, they really got on it. And it was no easy ride for Bigfoot. Bigfoot wins it. King Kong 3 is going to have to get in it early. They're ready to go. Here comes the green light. There they go. Oh, look at King Kong get up. King Kong driving like a madman out there. He was really flying over that first set of cars, going against the Gravedigger. The Gravedigger's wild and crazy. Look at the Gravedigger go. Oh! Oh, the Gravedigger's on it. I tell you, the Gravedigger did not win by that much. The Gravedigger looked awfully smooth, but he did not win by that much. Chevy versus Ford. Oh, it was a close one. Bigfoot wins it. Bigfoot wins it. Master Disaster getting over on the right-hand side of the cars. And some of the guys have had trouble keeping the trucks going down the middle of the cars. So Bigfoot will be in the finals this afternoon. Hey, this is going to be wild. Hang on. There we go. Monster truck racing. And Dennis Anderson has broken on the starting line. Looks like they've snapped the drive line. Steve Dane is going to go to the finals against Bigfoot. You felt awful confident for this race today, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was really planning on winning. Everything was working well for me, and until this gearbox exploded on me.
And that's just the way things go sometimes. You win a few and you lose a few.
That's right. We just back to the drawing board. We'll go home and regroup, and we'll be back stronger.
Anybody's ball game. The crowd gets ready for the finals here this afternoon. Here we go. The green light is out. And King Kong 3 has gone for it. Here goes Bigfoot. Here goes King Kong, and King Kong is going to win it. King Kong is going to win it. King Kong beats the legendary Bigfoot. And here he comes. He's saying to his pit crew, did I win it? Did I really win it? And Steve Dane, you did win it here this afternoon. Congratulations on just a superb run. You both got off to a nice, smooth start, but then all of a sudden you really gained some ground on him. Tell us what happened out on the track.
Well, I wanted to get a nice hole shot. He outpowers me, probably double the horsepower. He's got a Ford factory sponsor. He's held an advantage over everybody for a number of years because of that reason. I feel this is going to mark the end of the Bigfoot dominance in monster truck racing. He got beat by Gravedigger yesterday. He gets beat by me today. Hopefully it'll continue to happen, God willing, and I'm the happiest guy around.
All right. You got to have a lot of guts to do this, don't you?
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts and a strong back.
Hey, you got a good backbone on this one all the way. He wins it. Congratulations, Steve Dane.
Thank you.
Rich Hooser, the driver, and you talk about a tense moment. Take a look at this. Bigfoot, the Bob Chandler creation, the most famous monster truck of them all. In fact, the one that really started all the excitement. Here's our onboard camera, and you're about to go for a ride. Oh! Almost tipped over 5 tons of truck, Paul Page.
Yeah, but with a skillful bit of driving, he got the thing back on its 4 feet and came down to complete the other half of the course. Bigfoot, really a showpiece for the people here at the Astrodome. When the run was complete, Steve Evans talked with Rich Hooser.
I don't know what it looked like from your vantage point, but I thought that truck maybe was going over.
Yeah, that corner, I wasn't thinking with all the sand out here. I thought I was being able to spin it around real quick and hit that hill. But it really grabs tight. And when it did, and it started to go over, the only thing I could do is I turned the tires to the right and nailed it, and it was pull me out. Then to keep from going out of bounds, I had to stop and back up so I could finish the race so I could still qualify.
Bit frightening?
Just a little bit, but not too bad.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
They have some pretty monstrous engines. Many of them over 450 cubic inches. They all have superchargers on them to boot. Hey, this is a good race.
A wave of the green flag. The Carolina Crusher is out, running in the lead at the moment. Now as they come down to the turn at the far end, it's Huffaker that makes the turn in quicker, and he has the advantage. Now, 2 quick moguls lie just ahead as they're neck and neck, and it is the Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter that takes the win.
Boy, that one has the crowd on its feet, Paul.
Stomper on the far side as they await the green flag. Bigfoot gets the rollout.
Oh, yeah, a hole shot by Rich Hooser, and now you're on board Stomper. Look at all the flash bulbs going off in the Astrodome. And probably through that windshield, you're going to, yeah, there's Bigfoot off in the lead, having already made that turn.
Well, Stomper's got his hands full, and look at Bigfoot. Flags flying at the back as Stomper makes the turn now, tries to get up over the moguls. Bigfoot wins it, and you can see out the front of Stomper definitely some problems. They've slowed down substantially as he comes over those crushed cars. Little horizon, little grandstand, a little of everything out the front of Stomper. One thing's for sure, Stomper comes in second place. Bigfoot wins the round.
Well, let's take a look at the Stomper truck in action. I'll tell you, this machine gives gravity a bad name. Look at how high in the air 5 tons can get.
Takes a whale of a bounce on those already crushed cars. Look at him. He comes up for a second round and almost gets her upside down, but brings Stomper back under control, and that really cost him.
I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page. And Paul, from high in the Astrodome, they almost look like toys, but they're deadly serious racing machines.
Indeed they are, and very, very agile. Carolina Crusher jumps out into the lead over Clydesdale. Clydesdale having some trouble as Clydesdale makes the turn. Clydesdale turned in a little bit early, and as a result, they're now neck and neck.
Oh, Bennett Clark made a tremendous turn in the Clydesdale. Gary Porter got a little out of shape, had to take some time to straighten the truck out, and is going to be Clydesdale in the far lane. The multi-hued blue truck, Bennett Clark. He will go into the final round of monster truck racing. Rich Hooser sits at idle, waiting for the flash of green on the starting line, and he gets it. Immediately, the awesome power of Bigfoot is apparent. Oh, look at the leap. It's a wonder Bigfoot doesn't get fallen arches out of deals like that. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or if it was a lucky bounce, but Rich got a little bit sideways and actually it enabled him to make the turn a bit better. Clydesdale falling behind. Only one more giant leap to go. It is Bigfoot, the champion in the Astrodome.
Bigfoot takes the win. Rich Hooser is the champion here tonight, and it really was. Let's give him credit.
That's a supercharged 460 cubic inch motor in Bigfoot, and Rich Hooser gets the early lead. He had the whole shot, and you're riding with him as they go. Oh, and look at the air from Bigfoot. A perfect landing for Bigfoot, not so for Master of Disaster. A bit front end heavy, and here is the trickiest part of this course. Making that turn with the four-wheel steering. Bigfoot with an incredible lead. Unless Rich makes a fatal error here or slides off the cars, he's going to win this one easily. It is Bigfoot going to the next round.
Absolutely no problem at all for Bigfoot.
Now, Huffaker, early in round one, was paired up with King Crunch, driven by Scott Stevens, and something, well, rather interesting happened. Interesting to us, not so interesting to the TNT people. As watch the centerline light system here, the one we talked about and touted so highly earlier, say goodnight to it. Well, after the incident, Paul talked to a rather embarrassed Scott Stevens.
Well, Steve, here is Scott Stevens as he climbs down out of King Crunch. You were going fine, and you made a mess of everything.
Yes, it's kind of a new thing we were trying. It probably worked real good on the short indoor tracks, but when you're here in the Astrodome, it's like a real big track. And the rear steering, we don't have front steering, just the rear, and kind of got a little crooked on the last set of cars. And everything happened a little too quick, and I hit the cars pretty hard.
Are you reasonably certain now that it doesn't work?
On the big tracks, it don't work, but, you know, we might have to do some changes, and it might work possibly on a shorter track. On the long track, it don't work.
All right, well, we're glad you're okay. Thanks, Scott.
Don't worry about it, Scott. Who needs those fancy electronic starting systems, right, Paul? We'll just go back to a good old Blackman.
Like the days when you started drag racing, 1930, 1931.
Warrior and Just Showing Off. There's Just Showing Off. Paul Huffaker at the wheel, raises his hand. He's ready to go. Blackman checks with both of them.
Hey, it's a good start. No one had an advantage right off of the mark, and they're still pretty close together. Now, this will be the test of man and machine. Tremendous air from Just Showing Off. Warrior hanging right in there. Now, the turn, as we've seen before, is crucial. Now, there you see why you want four-wheel steering. Just Showing Off executes a perfect turn. Four-wheel steering also in the Warrior truck, but just seemed to be a little intimidated by that turn. And now with a good lead, Just Showing Off kind of cruises over those cars that are getting flatter and flatter.
Well, the rule is really the same in any form of motorsports. You have to be smooth. You have to take this monstrous power and bring it under control. And it looks like a problem there with Warrior as well, as we see a belch of smoke coming out of the engine now. I'd say its day is done. Its race certainly is. And he lays the challenge down.
Oh, indeed he does. And I guarantee you they're running both engines in the other lane in that Ford driven by Mr. Giles. Look at this, a good start by the twin-engine truck in the far lane. And all of a sudden, making up the differential is the Carolina Crusher. Here is that all-important pirouette they have to make, and who makes it better? It appears to be the Carolina Crusher. And slowing there for a moment is Giles in the twin-engine Ford. Looks like a big lead now for the Crusher.
The Carolina Crusher makes the jump and finishes it as Giles bounces over the finish line as well. The Carolina Crusher will move into the semi-final round.
But up against the Barbarian, well, he had a problem or two. Let's take a look. Now, this was earlier today here in the Astrodome. Now, that's the Chevy truck stopper in the near lane. He's the one to watch. He had a nice lead over the Barbarian. Barbarian kind of struggling a bit. But suddenly, and now you're riding on board with Stopper. You can see the flames coming out of the top. Gail Mefford made the turn, headed down, and suddenly swapped lanes. Now he's on the wrong side of the track, and he crushes the wrong set of cars. Now, only Gail Mefford could tell us whether that was accidental, on purpose, or what did happen.
I'll tell you what, it looked great. Everything seemed like it went right, just in the wrong place, huh?
Well, I didn't know where I was at till my partner told me I was in the other lane.
What happened then? I understand he walked up to you and you just pulled the visor down.
Yeah, my visor come down when it hit the first set of cars, and it was steamed up, and I didn't know where I was at.
So you just lost out there?
I just lost it.
No, this is not that big a place.
No, it's not. Yep, I should have kept it under control, shouldn't I?
That's a whale of a way to get pushed out, isn't it?
Sure is.
All right,
if you're
we'll
going
see.
to get disqualified, you might as well do it right.
All right, we'll see you again in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail Mefford, he'll take a little ribbon about that for a while. But this one makes more noise, and to many of the fans, is more fun than anything else they've ever seen. Monster Truck Racing. And this is Bigfoot next up with just showing off. We're in the semifinals. Look at the lead from Rich Hooser and Bigfoot.
Rich leans out that left side window, takes a look down. That's how he decides where he's going, not by looking out over the front. But just showing off, came around the corner ahead of Bigfoot. Now Bigfoot with an amazing burst of power, a fantastic jump, and Bigfoot wins it. Just showing off, almost goes upside down. Look at Paul Huffaker bouncing around inside the cab.
I'll tell you what, he put a little bit of fear into Rich Hooser that time before they made the turn at the far end. Just showing off, had the lead. Let's take one more look. This is Bigfoot.
I'm going to tell you, Steve Evans, this was a race. Bigfoot was up in the air first, ahead of Just Showing Off as they came to the first set of cars. And then when they got down to the far end and made the turn, Just Showing Off took the lead. But then Bigfoot laid on the power. Here is Just Showing Off as he's coming to the finish line. And he noses down and almost augers her in. Look at the bounce that he takes on that one. Almost rolls it up, over and backwards. Well, I tell you, these cars have received some tremendous punishment.
This looks to be a pretty even match.
Yeah, this should be a whale of a race. Both of them are in position now. They're very even machines. Both guys really know how to drive these. They're well prepared. They're well powered, and they are off and running. The Crusher goes into the lead at first. Gary Porter up on the first jump. Nice even. Look at the control he has as he gets a little turn out to the left. I think that's a planned turn. As they come to the turn at the far end, it's Clydesdale. But Bennett Clark gets it a little askew. He's got it pointed the wrong direction. And now Clark falls behind the Carolina Crusher. Goes into the lead, and Gary Porter wins it and goes into the final round.
I'll tell you what, Paul, Bennett Clark may have had that one in the bag. But this four-wheel steering we've talked about, you heard the Carolina Crusher weighs in at 13,500 pounds, and Bigfoot at well over 10,000 pounds.
We're ready to go. Bigfoot on the near side. Carolina Crusher on the far side. Gary Porter lays the power and jumps out ahead of Bigfoot, but Bigfoot jumps into the lead. You're looking out the front window over the first jump. Look at him lean out that window now. He has got a definite lead as Bigfoot makes the turn at the far end, but the Carolina Crusher seems to be catching up.
The Carolina Crusher was in it all the way, Paul, until that tricky turn for the last stretch down. It is Bigfoot winning it, but bouncing all over the floor of the stadium. And look at the crowd. How many of those kids you figure out there, Paul, have got a Bigfoot toy at home, or will have after tonight?
Well, thank you, Paul. And certainly Bigfoot was again #1 tonight. But this man, Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, you went after him. And everybody, a lot of trucks seem to be able to stay with him until they make that forward turn. That seems to be where Rich enjoys the edge.
Yes, that turn is very critical. Plus, he's over horsepower to me, and the turn had a lot to do with it, and it's a good truck.
I'll tell you, guys have reduced those cars up there to absolute rubble.
Yeah, some cars have had it this weekend in the hills, where they're getting us in the air, and when we land on the cars, we just destroy them.
Again, good job, good show.
Thank you.
Monster Trucks, picking them up and putting them down. Bigfoot and Stomper. 16 Monster Trucks racing in side-by-side eliminations. As Hardy Chevrolet presents the Budweiser Monster Truck National, part of the Redman TNT Motorsport Series. 7:30, Saturday, February 27th at Fulton County Stadium. One child is admitted free with each adult ticket. Save $3 on advance adult tickets at all seats outlets. Will your favorite monster truck make history or be history?
Wait till we go to green, then we're going to go racing. Here they come. Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. Coming down. Here they go. And it looks like the Crimson Crusher has taken the lead. But here comes overtime. They're going to do battle at home plate. Here they come. Crimson Crusher. Dale Hancock. Dale Hancock wins it. Dale Hancock wins it, ladies and gentlemen. Right down the pedal to the metal. Here they come. And you can see Southern Storm gets off first. Oh! Be careful, but Rambo driven by Dale Harris out of Pearl, Mississippi, a 1980 Toyota. Going against Barely Tame, Chevrolet against Toyota. The Ford against the Toyota. And the Toyota beat the Ford. Bigfoot driven by Jim Kramer. This is going to be one battle to watch. This is it. Oh, I'll tell you, the fans here coming to their feet now in Atlanta. This could be the battle of the evening. Kramer against Dennis Sanders. Oh, Dennis Anderson. Losing. Here comes Bigfoot. Oh, look at him come. Bigfoot the inside lane. Dennis Anderson the outside lane. Here he comes. There he comes. Dennis Anderson. Dennis Anderson. Oh! Unbelievable. Oh, wow. Jim Kramer and Bigfoot wins it. What many people consider the #1 monster truck driver in the country today. Jim Kramer and Bigfoot. And Jim, as you come down, it was quite a wild start. What happened?
Well, I got a good start, and I charged hard to the corner, and I happened to look over and saw him in my lane, and I knew he had gotten disqualified, so I kind of cut back a little bit. But that's wheel-to-wheel racing. You know, you got side by side, you got excitement that causes you to run harder. And old Gravedigger, he'll never back off. You know, I know that. That's why I can't either.
The fans love you here in Atlanta. Good luck as you continue on.
It's great being in Atlanta here with the McDonald's and Ford, and I just really appreciate being here. Thank you.
All right, Jim Kramer continues on. Here they come. They're racing. Here comes Awesome Kong. Here comes Crimson. Oh, Awesome Kong's got some problems. No, Crimson Crusher's got problems. Awesome Kong has got to stay on the outside lane. Crimson Crusher's going to gain right here. Here they come. Right down to the finish. Right down to the finish. Here they go. Yes. Yes. Oh, wow. Unbelievable. Awesome Kong, Jeff Day. Unbelievable. Oh, he has broken. It looks like he has broken something.
Mad Dog is having problems with the fuel injector, so it's anybody's race.
Southern Storm against Mad Dog. Southern Storm against Mad Dog. Here they go. Here they go. Southern Storm against Mad Dog. Mad Dog, John Breed. Finish it was Casper, the friendly ghost. Dale Harris out of Pearl, Mississippi, the 80 Toyota against the Ford of Steve. No! Look at this! Oh, wow! Unbelievable! Oh, look! Oh, King Kong and Casper, they're rocking soccer back and forth. This is wild. This is crazy. Uh-oh, here comes Awesome Kong. Uh-oh! Oh! There's right to the end. Yeah, oh! We are down to 4. We're down to the semifinals. Here they come. Bigfoot is going against the Crimson Crusher. And look at this. Bigfoot against the Crimson Crusher, turning it loose. Here they come. Well, the Crimson Crusher sort of came in as a substitute tonight, and he certainly liked that position. But he really had a tough road to hoe going against Bigfoot. And when you go against Bigfoot, boy, you better have it all planned out just right. The Crimson Crusher was on the outside lane, and that is the slow lane. He comes up second, but he'll finish very strong here near the finals in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. This ought to be a wild and woolly finish. Let's go to the action right now. Get your cameras out. This is the finals. Bigfoot against Casper. Here we go. Oh, look at him go. Dale Harris. Dale Harris, here he comes. Bigfoot. Oh, Bigfoot almost upset. Dale Harris coming around the bow. Dale Harris and Bigfoot is going to win it. Bigfoot is going to win it. Oh, wow. truck driver in the world today, ladies and gentlemen, Bigfoot Jim Kramer. You know, Jim, first off, we want to say congratulations. I've seen you win a lot of monster truck races, but here again, this was no easy task in Atlanta.
You got the TNT Monster Truck Racing Circuit, the toughest people were here tonight. It means a lot to me to be able to compete with competitors like I had tonight, all very fine trucks. It's great when you win one like this, just great.
All right, now as you came down the third base line, it was pretty close, but then you had things in order when Dale Harris hit the wall.
I didn't even know Dale hit the wall. If he was anywhere on the track, I know he'd be right with me or behind me, so I couldn't even take the time to look.
Well, we've been here in one of the world's greatest stadiums, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't been baseball, it hasn't been football. It's been monster truck competition.
Chevrolet presents the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Coming 8 p.m. this Friday and Saturday to the Roanoke Civic Center. Get tickets now at the box office and all Ticketron outlets.
Kramer on go. Let's see how he attacks the track. Short shot on the hole. Watching on the run. Flying over all of them. Cleared the line. Airborne and cleared the line. High in the sky, and he watched him. We'll wait on a time. It could be one of the toughest to beat. Bigfoot has the quick time of the night with a 4.9 on foot. The Gravedigger, its rear engine. On top of it. Earth-shattering, ground-pounding pass. Playing for keeps his stage. He's running the big blown motor of the Gravedigger. Who's it gonna be? Well, it's Gravedigger as he covers them. And I mean, he covers it all. Both of them stage very carefully. Watch for the light to go green. Clock starts then. Who's it gonna be? It's the whole shot. It made all the difference. He wins it all over the track. Christmas tree light in hand. Watch them as they go. Who's it gonna be? Kramer leaves on him. Look at that. Shuts it down at the wall. The two fastest trucks on the premises go head-to-head for the championship here in Roanoke, Virginia. Jim Kramer running 460 cubic inches. He calls that his little motor. It's the foot. The foot pulls it out. Bigfoot pulls it out at the end. He did it in the air. What a finish for what a race. Bigfoot on top all the way. What a final. It was neck and neck, and he passed him right at the line. Bigfoot takes one home. Looks like that when Jim Kramer landed, the right front tire came back around real hard. So it could be another problem for Bigfoot, but at this time of the night, it makes no difference. It's all Overville. He does it in a 4:33. That's the quickest anyone has ran the course all night long. It's Bigfoot in the winner's circle tonight.
This is the first of the Chevrolet against Ford matchups.
The pairings this evening came out that way. Ford, Chevrolet, so the two big manufacturers going head-to-head right here on the Renegade TNT Monster Truck Circuit. Now, Clark has got one hope. He's got to pull the trigger on Hoffaker. They go to the first jump, Richard. It's a close race. Clark looking strong. The chassis unloads just a little bit.
Oh, he's going to lose it. Clydesdale's going up and over almost. Finnick Clark is going to take the win from just showing off Pablo Hoffaker. What a wild ride.
They believe this truck has so much engineering in it, they're going to have to keep an eye open for it in the future.
And he's up against Ron Dennis in the Chevrolet Leadfoot.
They are off and underway.
Both drivers make the first jump. Chassis looks a little bit tight on Leadfoot. Richard, looks like something's going wrong with Leadfoot.
And USA 1 is slowing down also, coming across the tires. He is dying. USA 1 has died. Has he crossed the finish line, though? Yes, he has. Rod Litzow is going to be the winner in USA 1, but what is wrong with these vehicles?
Question this afternoon, Richard, they were all wondering. They're only 4 feet above sea level at this particular track. It looks like they're going to make some adjustments in the fuel. Moore, one of the strong independents on the tour, he'll be in the Ford right lane. Now, Porter, he's a young up-and-comer in this circuit out of North Carolina. He's a strong charger for the Chevrolet camp. Richard, they're off and running. It's a good, clean start. They cleared the first mogul. The first jump, Chevrolet looks to make contact with the Ford coming back on him, Richard. They're setting up for the final jump.
It's going to be an exciting finish coming across for no problems in Carolina Crusher. And the winner is going to be Gary Porter, the winner in Carolina Crusher, and right around. So the edge, you would think, would be to Bigfoot as we get ready for the lights to go off. You see the red lights on the screen. Now they're green, and Bigfoot gets out of there very, very fast.
What a hole shot. Now Stevens got to come back on him. So, okay, Stevens starting to dial a horsepower in on the Chevrolet on the crowd side. Bigfoot trying to stay on top of it, Richard.
And it's Bigfoot that is going to take the win. Rich Hoosier, the winner out of St. Louis, Missouri. He got that home shot, and he was off and running, but King Crunch came back strong.
There's a rumor on the circuit that in the Old West where they used to put notches in their guns, we understand there's going to be some names start to show up on the tombstones on the side of the grave diggers. Is there any truth in that?
Yeah, we've talked about it. I've got a few tombstones reserved for a few people out here, for some of the monster truck buddies, but yeah, we talked about it.
Well, Dennis Anderson is going to try to add another name to a tombstone as we're in the quarterfinal round of 8. And Army King Crunch, Scott Stevens, is back in the competition.
Working his way back in by one of the rules. The 2 quick-time losers get to come back. Stevens trying on the right lane. Richard, it doesn't look like it's going to be his night, but the local boy, look at him go.
Whoa, the crowd loves Dennis Anderson and Grave Digger up and over every one of them. Easily the winner over King Crunch and Scott Stevens. The local favorite, Dennis Anderson, and the Gravedigger machine is rock and rolling tonight.
Hallmaker, Richard, will not be intimidated. He's in a bad lane. It's going to be a crapshoot. He's got to go after him with all the gusto he can.
All right, we are waiting for the green. As green is out, it's an even start for both of them. Bigfoot now gaining a little bit of advantage up and over.
Hallmaker looks like he's starting to work his way back. Bigfoot's in trouble. Hallmaker starting to shut the door on him and goes over the finish line, Richard.
But wait a minute, what happened to Huffaker? You saw the right rear tire get squarely on it. Something wrong with his machine also. Let's go down trackside. Army Armstrong with Pablo Huffaker.
Paul Huffaker just pulled a major upset, putting the Bigfoot truck away. Now, Paul, you came out of the right lane all night long. Everybody's been saying the left lane is the way to go. They had the left lane. You put them away. How'd you do it?
I don't know what happened to Foot, but I was just mashing on my motor as hard as I could, and something broke on my truck. We'll have to see if we can get it back together for the next round.
We're going to let you get right back to the action. Huffaker advances, ladies and gentlemen. Bigfoot goes on the trailer. Just received word Huffaker did severe damage to the rear suspension on the just showing off. He lost his rear steer, and Bigfoot goes out by losing the front steer on the truck.
All right, so these guys, though, are in the semifinals. Local favorite, hero, Grave Digger. That is Dennis Anderson up against the rookie driver, Rod Litzow, in the USA 1 machine, waiting for the green to go off right now as the two are lined up side by side. First round of semifinal action.
Litzow trying to make a name for himself right out of the box, a little out of shape. Anderson takes advantage of it, Richardson. He's trying to lead him, and Litzow's in trouble. Anderson won't quit. He goes after him.
Dennis Anderson is going to get the win over Rod Litzow in the USA 1 machine. The local favorite may have trouble. You see smoke coming out of the back, though, right there of the Gravedigger machine. Smoke coming out of the rear compartment where his engine is. Let's go trackside with Army Armstrong and Dennis Anderson.
Well, Dennis Anderson with the Gravedigger, he is going into the final, but it looks like it cost you something. We noticed the rear suspension got a lot of oil or grease coming out back here. Do you have any idea what it is, Dennis?
Yeah, I think I just wasted my motor. I might have thrown a rod in it, and when I pulled up here, I noticed I lost oil pressure, and so I'm out now.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see a tough break, ladies and gentlemen. Dennis Anderson with the Gravedigger doing a super job in front of his own hometown crowd. Let's hope he can get back in this thing. Good luck, Dennis.
Well, Army, we just got word that, in fact, Dennis Anderson won't be back. That means the USA 1 machine right there. But these two guys are fighting to get to the finals. We're waiting for the green light to fall, and there it is, and off goes the Carolina Crusher.
What a hole shot. Again, working the left side earlier. Porter told us the left's the place to go. He's proven it. Stevens trying to come back on him. I don't believe he's going to hold him off, Richard. The Carolina Crusher sets up an all Chevrolet final.
All right, it is Gary Porter, the winner, over King Crunch and Scott Stevens. All right, Army, so on a foggy night here in Virginia, we're ready to crown the king. USA 1 against Carolina Crusher. They're off.
Side-by-side Chevrolet final. Here we go, Richard. The first jump. USA 1 a little bit of a lead. Now the Crusher starts to come back on him. We're lining up for the second jump of cars. I don't know. They're both a little bit off course.
And across the finish line, who was it? It looked like perhaps on the inside, USA 1 had the little bit of an edge, but we're going to have to wait for the official word. Did Ron Litzow win his first ever race as a rookie driver? Yes, he did tonight. He's down with Army Armstrong.
This is your first time to drive the truck. You go right out on top. You beat the best in the country. Congratulations to you from all the fine people at Renegade.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without everyone behind me that built the truck and that. The truck's running really good. It's designed to do this, and we're going from here. There's a good start, and we're going.
No, it was a great start. As you see the replay, Rod Litzow, the first time in USA 1, he was the winner at the finish line. A photo finish for him, but heartbreak for others tonight as the Gravedigger, the local favorite Dennis Anderson, broke down. He went out, and Bigfoot, your national points leader, went out also. But the strong survive, and they'll be back, and we'll be back with more Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge races in the future.
Monster Trucks. Picking them up and putting them down. Monster Trucks. Racing for the first time ever in side-by-side figure eights. As Chevrolet presents the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Sponsored by WHAS TV 11. June 11th and 12th at the new Louisville Motor Speedway. 12 monsters, including Bigfoot and Stomper. Racing in the world's first figure eight showdown. Plus wild stock car racing. Free child's ticket with each paid adult ticket Sunday, June 12th. Save $2 on adult advance tickets now at all Super America stores.
We're in our final round of competition for round number 1. You think of Monster Trucks, you think of Bigfoot. He is up against King Crunch.
King Crunch out of Texas has been struggling all week long. He flipped the truck last week. He's trying to pull it back in. He has one chance. That's to keep Hoosier on the outside. But Rich Hoosier looks like he's going to be coming around. Has tremendous amount of ground speed, Richard. Hoosier looks to be, look at the mile-an-hour difference between the Ford and the Chevrolet.
Whoa, Rich Hoosier up and over and builds a whopping lead now on King Crunch and Scott Stevens. As a matter of fact, King Crunch has pretty well shut things down going into turn 2, but Rich Hoosier is on a roll there in Bigfoot as he comes up over the final set of cars to jump. It's going to be an easy win for Rich Hoosier in Bigfoot. And there you see a flash fire from underneath Bigfoot. Just briefly, a flash fire there from underneath the hood of Bigfoot, and that's King Crunch. He is going to try to finish this race. King Crunch and Scott Stevens, the loser. Wait a minute, Bigfoot is on fire again. Bigfoot is flaming underneath the motor. Army Armstrong running down to yell up at Rich Hoosier. Hoosier jumps out of the cab, is going to run around to find out what the problem is. The fire appears to be out. No, it's still flaming. Safety officials on the scene with Rich Hoosier. Well, this might put a damper on his competition later. Let's go down to Army.
Believe me, you put a lot of fear in a lot of people here. Tremendous fire in the vehicle right as you ran across the finish line, Rich.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. It was running real good until I got the last time over the cars, and all of a sudden a bunch of smoke started coming up into the cab. I really wasn't sure exactly what it was. It could have been just a little oil in the header. And when we come around here, it was on fire, so we think maybe the transmission got a little hot and put some oil out on the header.
You're going to be able to come back in the next round?
Yeah, we're going to pull over the pits, check everything out, make sure it's all okay.
Well, hopefully things will be all right for Bigfoot.
And I was bouncing really hard, and I kind of looked over, and Stomper was fixing to drive by me. And as light as my truck is and as big as motors I got, I can usually pull away, so I just leaned on it real hard. And that was about the end of it. It jumped up and nosed real hard in the air. And it was up in the air long enough, I shut the alcohol off, turned the motor off before it ever hit, because I knew it was going to land right on its nose.
Casper was defeated, but he comes back by virtue of being the second quick losing time. USA 1 immediately jumps out, Richard. A strong shot on the outside lane, and Casper looks to be having problems. He goes to the infield, Richard.
That's Dale Harris. Casper getting out of shape there in turn number 1. Meanwhile, Rod Litzow and USA 1 is approaching the first set of cars.
Might be to his advantage. He backpedaled. He's a little bit out of shape. This could really be to his advantage as Casper went to the infield. Litzow has a little bit of reprieve here. He can make a little mistake and still advance into the next round.
Now, you see the flag on the back of the USA 1 machine. What is that?
That's a True Value Hardware Master Mechanic plus a Chevrolet flag, Richard.
All right, of course, Chevrolet, a fine sponsor of TNT also. As you see, Rod Litzow bringing it over the final jump. Dale Harris, who would he be talking to there?
Harris going back to check with the starting line judge to make sure it was a legal start, Richard.
Well, Rod Litzow, your winner, he moves on into the semifinal round of competition.
Putting down some oil drive.
All right, we are ready to go. They're off and running, just showing off against Stomper.
Hoffaker gets a hole shot, puts a local boy in a bad spot. Witt said earlier, he has the horsepower to come back on the second half of the track. He's going to have to do it. The Ford jumps on the inside lane. The Chevrolet's going to have to really dial the horsepower in now. It looks like he's coming on him, Richard.
Paul Hoffaker with the lead, but here comes Mike Witt. Mike Witt with a tremendous surge of power goes around Hoffaker.
Hoffaker has to go to the high side. Witt got to be granted from air to air. The horsepower seems to be working. He's hanging outside the Stomper Chevrolet.
All right, it's going to be a race to the finish now as Mike Witt and Stomper 1 heads for the final set of cars. He is up and over. Mike Witt is going to win it over Paul Hoffaker, and just showing off, Mike Witt and Stomper 1 is your winner. A tremendous race in Louisville, Kentucky. The stage is set for the semifinals. USA 1 against Awesome Kong.
USA 1 quick qualifier goes to the high side. I don't know. We might have a Donnybrook here. Awesome Kong holding him on his hip. He's pushed him to the high side of the track. Steve Dane lined up perfect. He's right where he wants to be, Richard.
Steve Dane out of Texas may be pulling off a big upset as he is up and over. Meanwhile, Rod Litzow and USA 1 is close on his heels.
A lot of RPM when he came off the jumps on the Chevrolet. He may have some type of transmission problem as blue smoke starting to appear from beneath the vehicle.
Meanwhile, watch Awesome Kong, Steve Dane out of Texas, trying to upset your top qualifier tonight, and it looks like he's going to do it now. USA 1 is out of it as Steve Dane and Awesome Kong goes for the win. He moves into the finals. This is a major upset, Army. But now we're ready for the other semifinal, Bigfoot and Stomper 1.
Chevrolet versus Ford. This one alone is worth the price of admission as Stomper trying to hold off Rich Hoosier. Mike Witt on the inside, Hoosier on the outside, side by side as they approach the first turn. It's going to be a war. Bigfoot starts to come on him.
Up, 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 both of them. Look out for Mike Witt. He has flipped it. Mike Witt has flipped Stomper 1 and a Chevrolet. The safety people running over right now to him. Smoke coming from the machine. Army Armstrong has run down there now to check on his condition. Mike Witt and Stomper 1 probably could have won this race in that Chevrolet. He is out of it now. He is out of the car. Look on the replay how high he went up. Bounced down right onto the nose. Flipped over on the driver's side. Mike Witt is all right, unbelievably, but this means Bigfoot has won it, and really it was a lucky win because he had a flat tire, which meant that Stomper 1 probably could have won this race. Let's go down to Army Armstrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Witt for the second time in his pro career has gone head over heel high-sided the Stomper Chevrolet in one of the most gruesome flips we've seen. Now, Mike, number one, you're okay.
I'm fine, man.
I tell you what, a tremendous race going. Of course, your old rival, Bigfoot, you represent the Chevrolet camp, him, the Ford camp. Can you tell us exactly what happened?
I really don't know, Army. No idea.
Well, we're glad you're okay. We're going to let you get back to his crew, ladies and gentlemen. The final is set up. It'll be a Ford out of Texas and a Ford out of Missouri. However, we noticed when Bigfoot went by us a moment ago, his left rear tire had gone flat. No love lost between these fellas. Steve Dane wants to put Rich Hoosier away. They come out side by side. Dane's working the inside. Hoosier's going to have to go way, way around. Dane drops down on that inside. Is working good for him, Richard. He looks like he might be able to hold him off as they get ready to go over the first jump.
Here comes Steve Dane and Awesome Kong. He's going to be the first up and over. Then here comes Rich Hoosier and Bigfoot.
Hoosier gets a lot of air, but immediately the Ford sounds a little bit different.
And he has shut it down. Something wrong with Bigfoot. He is out of it. Rich Hoosier has shut Bigfoot down. That means your winner, the champion in Louisville tonight, is going to be Steve Dane and Awesome Kong.
Dane motors across the final jump to take a well-deserved win. This kid has been pumped up. He wanted to win it tonight, and it looks like he's going to do it.
Oh, you can tell how happy Steve Dane is, popping out from the cab, waving to the crowd. There he is, your champion tonight, Awesome Kong and Steve Dane over Bigfoot and Rich Hoosier. We just received word that Rich broke the throttle linkage. Let's go down with Army Armstrong now in the winner.
Steve Dane, congratulations on a well-deserved win.
Thank you, Army. This is a tough track. First time TNT put on a figure eight. Takes a little getting used to taking left-hand turn, right-hand turn. It's a high-speed track. I had more horsepower, I think, just about everybody here. Me and Snauber got the bigger motors. I knew I could get him once I got in the flat ground. He has a good working suspension, that Bigfoot, and I had to get ahead of him to make sure I wouldn't lose any time over the cars. He must have had some kind of problem because after that last turn, I didn't see him, and I just backed out of it a little bit.
When you get to the final, it's a knockdown, drag out for that first place. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So 3 major stories tonight. Steve Dane, the upset winner, and Awesome Kong. Bigfoot breaks in the finals, and Stomper has a tremendous flip. We're going to take a look at it as he takes off.
Left the line very, very hard, but the transmission seemed to go away on him. You hear the engine kind of wrap up, but Rod stays after it. He goes into the first corner, the first right, looking at the heat gauges. He knows he has problems. As blue smoke comes out, he immediately goes to the infield, Richard.
And you can see right here, he flips off his safety harnesses, and he is out of the truck quickly. Rod Litzow, the driver of the USA 1 machine, out of competition.
I tell you, in the first round of competition, that truck did not attack like they thought it would. We're going to go back to pits and check. Right now, to the action on the track, still trying to qualify for this second round.
Well, it's no problem on the outside. He'll be on the inside after they make their first jump. But taking the big, quick lead is Leadfoot and Ron Dennis as they head for the first set of jumps.
The Arizona native runs up, head comes out the window, and he slows down. That gives the Ford a chance to come on, and the Ford's closing the door on him, Richard. He's trying to pull it back. He will have the inside for the final part of the track. Back topside to you.
It is going to be door to door as they come around this final turn, heading for the final set of cars in the jumps. Ron Dennis with a slight lead now. It's John Moore out of Lafayette, Tennessee, and no problem trying to gain ground. Smoke pouring out of the Leadfoot machine. Here they come, up and over the final jump. We're going to have quite a finish here. John Moore with a little bit of an edge, and he's going to cross the finish line first. Your winner, John Moore out of Lafayette, Tennessee.
Jeff Dane out of Killeen, Texas. He runs 2 vehicles, King Kong and Awesome Kong. There are 2 Stomper Chevrolets. We're watching one now. One of them gets a tremendous jump as Smith gets a good jump, but he's in trouble. It looks like he's up against the wall, Richard.
Matter of fact, he has hit the wall. Little smoke coming off the tires are where he hit it, and that gives King Kong the advantage as he heads to the first set of jumps.
Kane trying to hold on, but the Chevrolet's coming back on him. Kane has to slow down a little bit. Marvin Smith trying to redeem himself from getting into the wall with that Chevrolet. He's starting to work the inside. Second half of the course, the short part will be to the Chevrolet. Back topside to you, Richard.
Well, they are door to door as they come around the final turn, heading for the final jump of cars. Stomper 2, the Chevrolet with Marvin Smith, and King Kong, the Ford, driven by Stephen Kane. It is Stomper 2 with the advantage right now, heading up and over the final set of cars to jump. Here comes King Kong, too little, too late. Your winner is going to be Marvin Smith in the Stomper 2 Chevrolet. Quarterfinal round action to begin now. Bigfoot 4 with Rich Hoosier, your fastest qualifier, up against Casper of Dale Harris, who was the fastest loser in round 1.
Harris advances by virtue of being a quick loser in round 1. Rich Hoosier a little disadvantaged. He qualified quick, but this is the first time today, Richard, he's actually had to pair up with somebody, and right now Dale Harris is making Bigfoot. Rich Hoosier worked for it. Hoosier has to go high to make the approach to the jump. A little bit of a lead for Casper, but Bigfoot's coming back on him.
These guys are putting on a wild door-to-door battle right now, the Ford and Bigfoot. Rich Hoosier with the advantage over Casper and Dale Harris as Bigfoot is heading for the final jump.
A lot of chassis lean on Bigfoot. Harris keeps the pressure on. He's not going to give it to him. Rich is going to have to earn it.
Whoa, look at Casper sky high. Take a wild ride down. Your winner's going to be Rich Hoosier and Bigfoot. The big Ford out of St. Louis, Missouri is going to move on. Meanwhile, what a great show from that gentleman, Dale Harris in Pearl, Mississippi in the Casper machine. The surprise, surprise, here comes Casper again and Dale Harris.
Remember we told you earlier, Richard, in this competition, the quick loser in the previous round comes back. Well, Harris out of Mississippi's back, but believe me, he grabbed a hold of a rattlesnake out of Texas right now. Hoffaker wants to get a hold of Bigfoot in the final, and he put a hole shot on the Mississippi Toyota. Hoffaker wants to make it an all-Ford final as he approaches the first jumps.
Just showing off is up and over, but here comes Casper putting on a late charge.
Casper wants to get a shot at him. They're getting together, awfully tight up in the corner. Casper's into him. Hoffaker had to shut out, and Casper keeps moving, and Hoffaker sets injured up in that numbered 4 corner.
All right, what is the Renegade TNT rules on competition like this?
What it states specifically is you must stay in your lane, and it looks like that the Mississippi truck went out of the lane. Casper, I believe, will draw a disqualification by virtue of running out of the lane. Remember, he started on the outside. He had to crisscross or go over. When he crisscrossed, he got into the vehicle. As you can see here, Hoffaker locks the brakes up. does not make contact with the wall. That's to his advantage. I don't believe there's any major damage to the vehicle. We're going back to you. Hoffaker wants Hoosier. This kid's trying to make a name for himself. We told you the story about him. He started at the bottom. Now you can't get any higher than this. You're going for the number one, running the number one truck. Hoffaker will try to put a hole shot on him, and he does. What a hole shot. Hoosier out a little bit late. Hoffaker jumps to the inside, trying to hold Bigfoot on that left hip. But believe it or not, that's exactly where Rich Hoosier wants to be, because he makes a wide turn as he closes in on a jump. Keep an eye out for Bigfoot. I believe he's coming after him, Richard.
Here comes Bigfoot, up and over both of them. A wild ride, just showing off in Bigfoot. The two Fords battling for the championship in Louisville. Right now, Rich Hoosier has the advantage as they head for the final jump.
Hoffaker works the outside. You'll notice Hoosier actually looks over his right shoulder to see where Hoffaker is. He's coming across to put another win on the Renegade Tour under his belt.
So there's your champion. It is Rich Hoosier. The crowd loves Bigfoot wherever he runs. Rich Hoosier out of St. Louis, Missouri, crowned the king in Louisville this afternoon.
He took the shot. The front end looked good. He nosed down real tight, went to the second jump. The front end had a tendency to break right there as Hoffaker completely tore the front suspension away from the truck, unable to get in the competition. So one of the top national point chasers will be not getting points this evening.
All right, you can see there on a video replay of what happened to Pablo Hoffaker. Broken suspension there. You saw that right front tire just angle out. Isn't it an advantage for the drivers to be so far apart and just meet for the first jumps?
The driver said that they're not really aware of it. What they're concentrating on is making a turn. You notice how the Stomper 2 goes around, but already the Coors King Crunch is lined up, goes over for the first jump. The Texan looks like he's going to advance. Meanwhile, Stomper's not giving up. He's trying to come back, but I believe the Lone Star State will go to the next round, Richard.
Well, the Chevrolet Stomper machine doesn't quite have enough today. Scott Stevens in King Crunch, the winner. He will advance in the competition. As a matter of fact, he will face the winner of the Carolina Crusher Leadfoot machine.
I tell you what, Richard, Porter and Dennis are two up-and-comers in the sport. Run out of their own pocketbook. They're what we call independents, but they run awfully strong. One out of Carolina. That'll be the backstretch, a yellow truck. The other one all the way from Arizona. A good start by both vehicles. They run up. And again, it looks like the backstretch turn is the quicker way around the track. However, the Arizona truck looks to be coming back. Carolina Crusher trying to hold him off. What does it look like from your angle, Richard?
It looks like a heck of a race, but it's going to be a win for Carolina Crusher. As a matter of fact, a double win. He not only beats him on the course, but Ron Dennis was disqualified for running off the course.
Yeah, he's one of the strong independents. He'll be working off the spectator side, making a right turn, but a good hole shot by the Chevrolet Mad Dog out of Missouri. John Bream jumps into the corner and gets himself a little out of shape. Meanwhile, Moore, the independent, kind of coming on slow and straight. I believe Bream may be in a whole lot of trouble. The Ford's pulling back on him, Richard.
He's got more than problems. He's got a disqualification. John Bream disqualified because he went off course. Rules say you've got to have both tires coming across the Crunch cars. Bream on the second set of Crunch did not do that. He has been disqualified. So your winner, John Moore, out of Tennessee, the Volunteer State. John, one of the up-and-coming stars on the Renegades TNT circuit, one of the favorites on the circuit, but then Rod Litzow really coming on strong in the national point standings.
I'll tell you what, Rod Litzow carrying that USA 1 red, white, and blue, got to be a Chevrolet color combination to the max. He came out of nowhere and immediately went after Bigfoot, your national points leader. But right now, the True Value Hardware Chevrolet USA 1 comes around a little bit late getting in the corner. Harris may have cut the course. We don't know. From my viewpoint, I cannot tell, Richard.
All right, well, he's definitely off course now, no matter what happened earlier, and your winner is going to be Rod Litzow. Winner USA 1 will move on. Dale Harris and Casper going off course. Don't know if it was mechanical problems right now. I'm sure it must be something going wrong with the Casper machine. We'll try to find out a little bit later on for you.
We talked to Stevens earlier. He was talking about moving the weight around in the Coors King Crunch truck. A lot of horsepower, lightweight. They're actually adding weight back in. They're off and running, Richard. What does it look like from your top side?
Well, everything that we said it would be. A tight battle, and it is. Coming around there first, so is King Crunch with the inside groove. He's got the advantage going to the second set of cars. But here comes Carolina Crusher. Gary Porter putting on a late charge at the line. I have no idea who won. As a matter of fact, they collided. They collided at the finish line. King Crunch and Carolina Crusher. Army, I'm going to let you call the instant replay.
Stevens had the initial jumping over the first set of cars. Then he seemed to lose horsepower. We told you about being one of the most powerful trucks on the circuit. He nailed the throttle, came back in the second jump, crossed up. Meanwhile, Crusher was coming after him. I don't know who won this thing, Richard.
Well, we're going to have to wait till we get the official word from the track officials. The crowd anticipating the decision also. Let's go trackside with Army and both drivers.
One out of the Tar Heel State, one out of Texas. These fellas just put on a super show. Gary, you and Scott, excuse me real quick, you and Scott Stevens just put on a super shot out there. What exactly happened right at that finish line?
Well, he got crossed up, and that's about all I knew. I looked up, and he was right there on me, and there was nothing I could do.
What happened over there, Scott?
I just drove, and when I mashed the gas, the truck kind of spun out on me. And even when I hit the brakes, it did no good. I just slid right into him. The track on the other lane's pretty slick, and I kind of crawled up on the cars easy, and I knew Gary was fixing to drive by me. So when I mashed the gas pretty hard, it just spun me around kind of on top of the cars, and I hated it if I went right in his lane.
I'm going to ask you a question the announcer doesn't know. Who won that race? Do you know?
I don't know. It was close.
All right, two strong competitors, both of them driving these awesome Chevrolets in Toledo, Ohio. We'll be back with a winner a little bit later in competition.
Well, Army, we can announce the winner. It came from trackside. It is Scott Stevens and King Crunch. Moving on in competition, it's King Crunch, Badlands area, Texas. Scott Stevens taking on the one, the only Ford monster truck of Bigfoot and Rich Hoosier.
Chevrolet, Ford. Crowd about evenly split. Chevrolet gets a good jump out. Let's see who's going to get into the infield grass first. It'll be Bigfoot. Makes a turn. Stevens actually hits a little bit of the track. The tire marker, Bigfoot, makes some good bounces, Richard. It looks like the Ford takes another win.
Boy, he not only takes another win, he blows away Scott Stevens and King Crunch. Matter of fact, Scott is just now coming across the end of the course going, what happened? Well, what happened was your national points leader just blew him away.
Well, we know we're going to have a Ford in the final. It'll be carrying the blue colors of the Bigfoot team. Which Chevrolet is going to go after him? Litzau, a good shot again, picking a lane that we think would not have been the good lane. Sets the chassis up so light on the right side, Richard. Both right side tires come up. They've got a good race going. I can't tell from my viewpoint. Back top side to you.
It is going to be the Chevrolet USA 1 of Rod Litzau winning over Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. The championship is set.
Litzau comes out with the USA 1 Chevrolet a couple of weeks late getting on the tour, but he is flat closing in on the Ford. A True Value Chevrolet, he'll be making a right turn. Ford will be making a left turn. They're taking their shot. They're off and running for the final. Richard, we're coming back up top side to you.
Bigfoot hits a turn first and hits the first set of Crunch cars. He goes by. It looks like it's going to be an easy win for Bigfoot and Rich Hoosier. He has nailed the championship one more time here in Toledo, Ohio, with a big win over Rod Litzau's USA 1 Chevrolet. The cream rises to the top. Talking about the next round, this ought to be a classic battle here. Dale Harris out of Pearl, Mississippi. In the little Casper machine, he takes on the ultimate monster truck. Rich Hoosier and Bigfoot, they're off and running, Army.
Hoosier looks good. Harris, he's into this thing awfully good himself. Harris has the lane advantage. He's running the lane that Hoosier wants, but Hoosier gets to the jump. However, it's close, Richard. Back to you. We can't tell from our angle.
And coming across the finish line first is Bigfoot and Rich Hoosier grabbing another win on this Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. Dale Harris putting on a whale of a show, and don't be surprised.
Chevrolet Ford battle. They're lined up side by side. Chevrolet will be making a left turn. Ford will be making a right turn. Let's see what's going to happen, Richard. Going into the infield, Chevrolet had the initial jump, but he looks like he's having a little bit of a problem. The Coors Creek Crunch slows down. The Ford's trying to come back on him, Richard. The finish line judge will have to give us a winner.
Well, it's not really the first truck that goes over all the jump cars. You see the white poles about midway down through the second set of jump cars. That's the finish line, and King Crunch and Scott Stevens took it first.
He'll be making a right turn, but Harris out of Mississippi, one of the crowd favorites, a born-again Christian doing a super job. He'll be making a left turn. Coming off the starting line, looks good, Richard.
Well, the thing about Rod Litzau to watch for, he loves exerting that power down the straightaway. Let's watch and see how it happens this time.
Chevrolet half-track, but keep an eye on Casper. He's coming back after him. I don't know who won it. We're coming back topside to you, Richard.
Well, it's official up here. It was Rod Litzau hitting that finish line first. USA 1 Chevrolet, the winner, moves to the semifinals.
He'll be turning to his right. Chevrolet out of the Lone Star State's going to be making a left turn. We're coming back topside with Richard with all the action.
All right, they hit the turns about the same time, but it's going to be the Badlands, Woodlands, Texas driver. Scott Stevens over first, but here comes Bigfoot. Rich Hoosier's going to take the win again. Bigfoot moves to the semifinals, while King Crunch, the Coors machine of Scott Stevens, heads back to the Lone Star State, slowly coming over those final set of Crunch vehicles. A great race. As darkness starts to fall here in Toledo, Ohio, they are off and running. And let's sit back and just enjoy this classic battle, Ford against Chevy.
Both trucks exactly where they want to be. The Ford got the jump on the infield. They know the Ford hangs on for a win, but believe me, the heartbeat of America, USA 1 Chevrolet, was breathing down Rich Hoosier's neck.
Bigfoot and Carolina Crusher, they're off and running.
Whole shot, side by side, they leave the starting line. It looks like Hoosier may dive in the infield first. He does. He'll approach the first jump. However, don't count the Crusher out. Hoosier not backing off. An awesome shot. Almost noses it over, Richard.
Rich Hoosier goes almost up and over on his nose, but he claims the championship in Toledo. Rich Hoosier, with a tremendous surge of power, crosses the finish line as he has done so many times this year. He pads more points to that national championship chase that he's got going right now.
It's going to be Stomper 1, Gail Medford, going up against the new guy on the circuit, Buffalo trimmer, John Kwasniewski. Now, if you think his name is hard to say, look at where he's from. Lackawanna, New York. So let's shorten it to Johnny K to make it easy on us all. John Kwasniewski takes on Stomper, and they're off and rolling.
Johnny K gets a gate job on him, but the Stomper, oh, we're in trouble. Stomper, engine seems to be going away. Medford stays after it, almost frustrated driving styles. Medford won't quit with a Stomper, Richard.
What a wild ride for the Stomper 1 machine of Gail Medford. As a matter of fact, he went off course, and that's going to result in a disqualification for Gail Medford coming off the line, taking a wild run down the track. That means Johnny K advances on this beautiful football stadium field.
Side by side, the Fords leave. Hoffaker out of the Lone Star State takes the advantage in the right lane, but immediately gets out of shape on the first jump. They were worried about the track conditions. Hoffaker goes after the second jump again. The track seemed to be going away, Richard.
Well, the track is in awfully rough condition. You saw that earlier in the Stomper 1 run, and you see it again as Paul Huffaker moves on. Of course, on the circuit, he's known as Pablo. The just showing off machine will move into the quarterfinal round competition, and we're going to move down trackside where Army Armstrong has cornered the winner.
Paul Hoffaker out of the Lone Star State of Texas. Paul, you're the first Ford to advance into the next round. Did you learn anything on that shot?
I need to hit that first set of cars a little different. They're throwing you off bad to the right. The bounce coming off that first set, like to cost me the race then.
I noticed that, you know, in previous runs down at right lane, that looked to be the place to go, but everybody seems to be coming off different. Bigfoot came off the right side. He landed kind of strange. You landed kind of strange. What causes that?
It could be a lot of it having to do with the dirt ramp exiting the cars on that first set, throwing you a little bit left to right as you come down it. That and the bounce as you come off of them. As you'll notice, when we land, we're bouncing back up in the air again and then landing in the dirt, and that's really fouling things up.
Okay, so Hoffaker advances to the next round with a Ford-powered vehicle. We're going back upstairs to Richard. This run has to be side by side, the two most powerful monster trucks in the country, and Litzow puts a gate job on the Texan, but Stevens nose heavy, trying to pull him back. Richard, we're coming to your end.
All right, it's going to be Litzow with the lead at the finish line. A great run for Rod Litzow, but also a good one for Scott Stevens. Don't be surprised to see Scott come back as a fast loser.
He represents Chevrolet in this run, of course, for all the Ford fans. We love Bigfoot, they're saying. They're going to be coming off that left lane. A good job by the Chevrolet. The Ford's going to have to come from behind. Hoosier has his work cut out for him. The track conditions could dictate a winner. Richard, what does it look like on your end?
It looks like another heck of a finish here in Charleston, West Virginia, as the winner is going to be Rich Hoosier, doing what he's done so many times this year, putting on a late charge to take the win. Rich Hoosier and Bigfoot moves on. King Crunch goes to the pits. All right, so we are just about set to go. The Renegade TNT official has his arms in the air. He drops them, saying they're ready. They'll wait for the green lights. It's on, and we're off and racing.
Porter gets a little bit of a jump. Johnny K's coming after. Johnny K fell into one of the holes we've been hearing about. The stretch wheelbase Chevrolet looks like he will advance, relatively staying upright compared to the way the rest of the competition's been going this evening, Richard.
Well, Gary Porter does move on, so obviously the change he made in the truck made a difference.
Hoffaker, believe me, the Texas heritage shows in this kid. He is not intimidated one bit by that Chevrolet. Hoffaker will definitely give him a strong run. Let's see what's going to happen when the lights go green.
And they are off and running.
Hoffaker looked to me, Richard, like he got the initial jump, hits the first set of cars. What does it look like on your end?
Hoffaker with the lead, but here comes Rod Litzow in the USA 1 machine, and he's going to take him at the finish line. Rod Litzow's the winner in the Chevrolet USA 1, but another great run by Pablo Hoffaker. Out of St. Louis, Missouri, in Bigfoot 4 against Gary Porter from Wadesboro, North Carolina, and Carolina Crusher.
Another Chevrolet Ford battle. Looks like Bigfoot, the initial advantage went to him. Hoosier looks to be stretching it out, but Porter's trying to pull it back, Richard.
Porter coming out strong, but he goes off the track there as he comes across the second set of crunch cars. That means Hoosier will advance to the championship round. Rich Hoosier with another classic battle, this time against Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher.
I don't know how to call this thing. The track, I believe, will dictate the winner. They come out side by side. The Ford actually gets to the jump first and gets a little bit out of shape. Chevrolet's trying to come back on him.
Looks like there could be problems with Pablo Hoffaker's machine. Just showing off, looks like he had problems late down the track. That means the winner is Rod Litzow out of Spring Lake, Minnesota, the winner in USA 1. I have no idea, possibly steering or transmission problems with the just showing off monster truck of Pablo Hoffaker.
They can really close a gap right here. Like I say, away from the trucks, they're best of friends, but right now, you're looking at a street fight. First one that can get the other one's throat on this run is going to do it. This is what it's all about. Winner or loser, Chevrolet or Ford, side by side. The crowd really getting into it. We're going back topside for you to give all the action, Richard.
Well, besides the Ford-Chevy battle, you got a battle of prides. The pride of Rich Hoosier, the current national points leader, against the pride of the rising star Rod Litzow out of Spring Lake, Minnesota, waiting for the green light to fall, and does, they're off.
Hoosier had to put a whole shot on him. He did exactly what he had to do. Hoosier working the right lane to perfection, a little bit out of shape as a USA 1. Hoosier keeping a Ford straight. Ford looks like to take the win, Richard.
It is Rich Hoosier as Rod Litzow, a little bit of problem there, got a little squirrely on the course. That has cost him the win. Your champion again, the Ford of Rich Hoosier in the Bigfoot machine. The crowd absolutely loving it, especially the Ford fans. But then again, the Chevrolet fans have nothing to be ashamed of as you see Rod Litzow about ready to jump out of that monster Chevrolet USA 1. Let's go trackside with Army.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a final. These fellas put on a super job. The temperature all afternoon, about 110 degrees. It didn't seem to affect you guys at all. Congratulations, Rich Hoosier, on a well-deserved win.
Thank you very much, Army. Rod, it was a great run. After last night, I had to put my foot in it all the way, and that's what I did.
Well, Rod, I tell you what, you and the Chevrolet teamed up with the True Value Master Mechanic team. You're right up in the middle of this thing. Congratulations on a super run and a second-place finish.
Thank you, Army. It was a tough run, that last one. That was a pretty rough track back there. I knew it was going to be, you know, all as hard as we could go.
It was kind of like a crapshoot. When the light went green, they went full boogaloo. Ford takes the win tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Average even on the Renegade Tour.
Rich Hoosier sits out there on top, but the USA 1 Chevrolet coming after him like a bear, and you can't mark his kid from Texas out. Paul Hoffaker was just showing off. We're 3/4 of the way through the year. These fellas are trying to get that championship wrapped up. We're going to wait and find out who will go out of here tonight, the winner. Berge, he's one of the up-and-comers on the tour. We've been going around the country. This is his first opportunity to be with us. He wants to make a good impression. He's in trouble, Richard. He's got a little bit of a problem. Hoffaker going and take the win out of that right lane. Berge, something went away on the rear steer of the truck.
Bad luck right off the bat for Jesse Berge playing for keeps. He is out of it. The good news for Hoffaker. He moves on to the quarterfinal.
Well, it'll also carry over in the manufacturer rivalry. Will be driving a Chevrolet, Moore in a Ford. Left lane, a good lead. Now, keep an eye on the stopper. He has a tendency to really go on the big end of the truck. Now, he's putting the horsepower down, Richard, and comes back on that Ford.
And Mike Witt is the winner in the Chevrolet after a slow start. And now we're going to see how speed really is a factor as we start our quarterfinal round competition. Carolina Crusher, the second fastest loser, paid the price for losing because now he takes on the fastest qualifier, USA 1. And Army, it is no contest.
Let's out a USA 1 Chevrolet flexing a muscle. Quick qualifying time in the evening. All the drivers said this is a truck to beat. And he's looking awfully, awfully strong. Runs around the high banks here at Nashville Raceway. These people are really getting into that Chevrolet monster truck. He keeps going quicker and quicker, Richard.
And he's taking on your current national points leader, none other than Rich Hoosier out of St. Louis, Missouri. Rich is in, of course, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot currently your national point leader, as you said. Man, Litzow, USA 1 Chevrolet, has won this round. Hoosier's under pressure. He needs to win it, too, and he just may not. Now, Stevens has some problems, and Bigfoot hangs on to that national point lead with a win.
Army, Scott Stevens got a tremendous hole shot on Bigfoot, but he started bouncing tremendously after he went over the first set of crunch cars, and that probably cost him the race. Earlier this evening, Kevin Dabney went up against Bigfoot. He did not win that head-to-head competition, but he was fast enough to come back and go up against my favorite monster truck, and it's only because of the appearance of it. Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger, and they're off and running, Army.
Alien working on the left side in perfection, goes across the jump first. Anderson trying to come back on him. Richard, a little bit of smoke coming out. It's side-by-side monster truck racing on a Renegade Tour. It looks like Gravedigger's going to hang on for the win.
And not a little bit of smoke, but a lot of smoke boiling out of the Gravedigger coffin-carrying monster. He wins this competition, but he may have some major problems to prevent him from coming back. We're going to have to check in the pit area to see about that. Meanwhile, once again, Alien and Kevin Dabney put on a whale of a battle out on the track. Well, has he been dominating tonight? Listen to this. 2 out of 3 runs that USA 1 has made have been new track speed records. So normally you would think the pressure would be on the number 2 guy in the point standings. Not tonight. It is on the national points leader, Bigfoot. And look who is going up against Bigfoot right now. The number 2 guy with 2 track speed records tonight. USA 1 Army. It is a classic matchup. Number 1 and number 2 on the points. And Ford against Chevrolet.
Chevrolet working the inside with the USA 1 red, white, and blue colors. Comes out like a rocket. Bigfoot's got his work cut out for him. Litzow looking super on the inside. The True Value flag flying to the wind, Richard.
The pressure was on Bigfoot, and he couldn't hold up to it.
Bigfoot stayed after him, but it wasn't going to work. Litzow with the Chevrolet seems not to be denied this evening in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'll tell you what, this national points race is a dandy now as Rod Litzow on USA 1 is starting to dominate the circuit. He knocks off Bigfoot one more time and moves to the finals.
As the evening goes on, so he's got to be a little bit cocky. He knows he has the potential to win. However, on the other side, Huffaker can pull a major upset here. He's already helped his national points chase by putting Bigfoot down. He can advance his position.
Well, it's a classic matchup. Ford right there just showing off against the Chevrolet of Rod Litzow. Number 2 and number 3 in the national point standings. They're off and running.
Litzow pulls the trigger on that Chevrolet and jumps out in the right lane. Huffaker having some problems. Something goes away on him, and Litzow looks to be putting down the strongest run of the evening. The final could be the quickest in history.
Rod Litzow, the Chevrolet USA 1, blows away the field in Nashville, and he gains on Bigfoot, the national points leader.
Rod Litzow, we just received word. Quickest time ever, an 8:82. How do you feel about that run?
Great. I feel that's what I was working for tonight. I knew the track was possible of an 8. I've been running this kind of track with 8. I just had a little problem on the first one. I started clearing the cars too much, but I just put her down to the board this time. And farther along in the race, I can push the truck a little harder, and I pushed the truck to where I was going to take it.
Do you think this Chevrolet can beat that Ford for the national championship?
We got all the possibilities. We're running the great motor. If we keep running the way we are, consistent, and we're running track records, we've been breaking track records, it's possible. It's real possible to go with the whole year.
So it was kind of a good news, bad news night for Paul Huffaker, Army. The good news, he made the finals, but the bad news...
Well, the word from the pit area is he lost the transmission on that run, Richard.
Small block Chevrolet with the Nissan. He'll be working a right lane. Left lane, the fellow we were just talking to, Stevens out of Texas. He believes in those Texas big cubic inch engines. Supercharged 514 cubic inch Chevrolet in the King Crunch. Small block 350 Chevrolet on the Alien, and a hole shot. The Alien jumped him right off the starting line, Richard, but Crunch is trying to pull him back.
Scott bouncing and rolling and going down the track and going off course. Scott Stevens off course. He will be disqualified. The winner and an upset, Kevin Dabney and the Alien Machine, as first-round action continues in Nashville.
Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson.
Anderson out of Virginia will be working the inside. Witt out of Kentucky. He'll be working the side closer to the track. Now, 2 different philosophies here also, Richard. Notice how slow Stomper starts off. The type of clutch he runs, it almost has to wind up like a rubber band. Meanwhile, Anderson nails the throttle and looks like he's done a lot of damage as smoke starts to roll out the back. He'll advance in the win column.
Smoke not only rolling out as it covers the entire screen there, it starts boiling out of the back of the Gravedigger machine.
What could that indicate? Because I know Dennis's motor is in the back of that. Could it be the motor of maybe transmission or something else?
It looked like transmission. We don't know now. I guarantee a lot of people are going to be jumping around trying to help him. You notice, as a matter of fact, the crew member from Bigfoot looks to be the first one over to help out. Everybody wants to help this kid stay in competition.
Well, it does look like it is a transmission problem as you see fluid leaking down.
Well, I'll tell you, the people in Nashville are definitely getting their money's worth on a Renegade tour. You said it earlier, they're racing people. They're seeing a whole new ball game of motorsports, and once again, the USA 1 comes out smoking, Richard.
Way up and over, Rod Litzow moves on as John Moore's no problem is left sitting in the dust of Nashville. John out of the state of Tennessee not faring well against the most powerful machine here tonight.
Yes, the tires are taller. They're 72 inches tall. The other tires, the other vehicle, only 66-inch tall tire. Small block Chevrolet in the alien vehicle. The driver says the smaller cubic inch, the taller tire combinations works good for him. Now remember, this young man has not followed the tour with us, but he's been very, very competitive in this sport. He's been around a lot of time. He builds these trucks for people. He says the small block, tall tire combination is the way to go, and it looks like he's not only talking the talk, Richard, he's walking the walk. Look at the alien make a shot down that left side. He's going to advance to the next round.
But not without a real battle from Jesse Berge playing for keeps. I'll tell you what, Kevin Dabney had to earn every inch of that win.
Ford doesn't have a choice. He must go to the opposite lane. And Litzow sits on the inside with a big grin on his face, Richard, going to a whole new part of the track, working it right. He said he would not be there. That's not the case.
I don't know what the strategy is, Rod Litzow. It could backfire on him as they're off and rolling.
No, Litzow comes out like a rocket. Look at the chassis starts to unload. He lines it up. Final jump. Richard, the national championship point chase just tightened up a ton.
Rod Litzow, the winner with that powerful motor. Maybe Rich Hoosier's going to have to reevaluate putting a bigger engine in that Bigfoot Ford.
Litzow, USA 1. What does he do? Comes right back to his old stomping grounds. He's coming back to the left side. See what's going to happen. A national point chase is really tightening up. The left lane is trying to win a championship, and look at that. He comes out a little bit out of shape. Sparks come off the inside, but USA 1 marches to another win, Richard.
Sparks came flying out of Kevin Dabney's alien machine, and Rod Litzow, in record-breaking fashion, has won the title in Nashville.
Bob Hook Chevrolet presents the Shoney's Monster Truck Nationals. The Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge Championships. It's coming October 7th and 8th at Freedom Hall. One child gets in free with each adult ticket October 7th.
Engelman, during a qualifying shot, Richard, his face violently slammed into the steering wheel when he went over the last set of cars. Meanwhile, he's trying to upset a hometown boy, so to speak, Mike Witt. He's going to try to mess up Witt's homecoming, and he's doing it. Look at that. Stomper's out. Sky's real tall, but the heartbeat nails him, Richard.
Heartbeat of America, Brett Engelman, the winner, but Mike Witt, the loser in more ways than one. It looks like he has suffered mechanical breakdown on that Stomper 1 Chevrolet out of Mount Washington, Kentucky. Witt coming across the first set of jump cars, skied way up, the nose pointing straight to the hallways here at Freedom Hall.
Bowen could lay down a shot for you. However, John Bream is a whole shot artist, and that's exactly what he does. Look at that. Takes a Mad Dog Chevrolet with no problems at all, Richard, and just drives to a win.
John Breen out of Jefferson City, Missouri. The winner in Mad Dog, as that is probably one of the smoothest runs I've seen John make this year on the circuit. Dennis Anderson, a Gravedigger, taking on Marvin Smith. Stomper 2, he got a bye in the first round because Pablo Huffaker, just showing off, broke down and couldn't race him.
Look at this, Richard. Anderson and the Gravedigger bury Stomper right on a starting line. The red lights of the Gravedigger will be back in the building to compete. The Stomper Chevrolet will not.
Dennis Anderson, Gravedigger, the best of the beast in this competition, says adios, amigos.
Brett knows he has his work cut out for him. Awesome Kong psychologically knows he's going to win this thing. He believes he's going to win. It's going to be tough not to win. Look at this. Nose over. Awesome Kong will advance.
Brett Engelman almost did it again as his nose went right down into the ground here in Freedom Hall. He gets beaten by the confident kid out of Texas. Here he is, the ultimate Bigfoot.
The Ford, Rich Hoosier, trying to win the national title tonight, taking on Mad Dog and John Breen.
John Breen is going to make him work for it. Breen's not going to roll over. Look at this. The Chevrolet's down on him. Both trucks in a little bit of trouble. Richard, what a run. I don't know who won that shot, Richard Leake.
I am waiting myself. I cannot tell from top side. We will have to wait for the official word from the Renegades TNT Motorsports officials. John Breen just put on a heck of a battle against what some call the ultimate monster truck Bigfoot, but I'll tell you something, I still don't know on the replay who won it.
I don't either. It was awfully, awfully close.
Well, here comes the word. It is Rich Hoosier and Bigfoot, and the crowd happy about that. USA won. Now he is taking on Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher. Look for an upset.
This national championship is getting awfully close. We can feel it. USA 1 must win to meet Bigfoot. He does. Richard, that sets up a dream semifinal for the national championship between Chevrolet and Ford. I don't know if he can do it. It's a toss-up.
What would you say the key in this matchup is going to be?
It's going to be the start, Richard. Both drivers know how cautious they must be. Look, they throw caution to the wind. They're going after each other. Awesome Kong and the Gravedigger. Kong takes the win.
But not after a wild ride by both drivers. Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger barely being nosed out by Steve Dane and Awesome Kong. A great show for the 18,000 fans in Freedom Hall.
Well, Richard, all year long, we've been talking about two fellas battling for that #1 position. Rod Litzow standing on my right, Rich Hoosier standing on my left. Litzow, the USA 1 Chevrolet, the new kid on the block, came to the circuit in Hampton, Virginia, and at that time, Rod, we did our first TV interview together. You drove your first monster truck race. You won then. You've been on a tremendous roll all year long. Do you still believe the Chevrolet can win the national championship this year?
I'm hoping so. I'm doing my best. The truck's been running good. Everything's going for us. Looks good.
Rich, you're on top of this thing. You've been there for many years. A lot of people feel that you're the best driver in this sport. What's he going to have to do to get past you?
He's going to have to do an awful lot because tonight, I say it might all depend on this weekend show, so he's going to have to do a lot because I'm going to go all out.
Well, let the show begin. It's time to crown the 1988 Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge champion, Army.
For the national championship, it's one run. Chevrolet and Ford. Who's it going to be? Litzow nails the Chevrolet. Chevrolet takes a win from Richard.
Rod Litzow on his nose, now on his side, and he is down. Rod Litzow has flipped USA 1. The first person out there is George Smith, crew chief of Bigfoot, helping Rod Litzow. They are trying to pull it. Here he comes out of the monster truck now. He appears to be okay, but he has flipped the Chevrolet, but he has won the national title.
Chevrolet officially the #1 monster truck in the country. What happened when he went over the last jump? The left front wheel hooked on him, tucked into the body, and rolled him.
So Rod Litzow takes it on its side, but wins in Freedom Hall the national title.
I want to jump out and push it back over.
The tire started twirling in, and it just kept wrapping under. I don't know if that tire let loose and come back. I had nothing I could pull on it.
It just hit, and it just started to fold under, and it just like slow motion. I was hoping to jump out and push it back over.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it's convincing. The first man to come over and help Rod Litzow was Rich Hoosier. This was a war. The people in Louisville, Kentucky are standing up. 18,000 people just saw a tremendous event. If it's any consolation to you, that'll bump you up into the national points lead.
Yeah, temporarily. But, I don't know, it was a wicked ride.
We'll let you get back to your crew. We noticed Everett's over there working, but you are okay, right?
Yeah. Just a little stunned, but first time I ever rolled. Now I can say I've done it.
He gets to race in the finals in the brake rule against Steve Dane and Awesome Kong. So maybe Rich can win the championship in Louisville, but USA won the overall champion.
USA won your national champion, but bragging rights are on the table now. Kong from Texas, look at this. He's in all kind of trouble. So's Bigfoot. Both drivers having problems in the final, Richard.
Neither drivers had their front wheels touching the cars like the rules specify, but in the finals, the first one across the finish line is the winner. That was Steve Dane and Awesome Kong.
Both of you missed the second set of cars with your front wheels, but Steve Dane, you will be crowned the winner tonight by virtue of crossing the finish line first. Congratulations to you.
Well, I don't like winning like that. Rich, I've been running him all summer. You can't give him any slack, and like I was telling you, I kind of gave her too much off the line. I think Rich, too, he get a little more excited towards the finals. It's more money, racing thousands of dollars. And makes me happy, man, to win here tonight. But
You got to get the foot. They're always there. They're hard to beat.
Everybody puts out 100% effort, and just got to go to the best man. Tonight I went to Steve. Good job.
Out of Lafayette, Tennessee. Let's watch closely to see if there's any mechanical problems on this USA 1 Chevrolet.
Litzow leads the line, and look at this. Prime USA 1 run.
I don't know.
But a little bit of problem. The right rear suspension on the truck, Richard, does not look right. It looks like there's something may have broken in the rear of the truck. Remember, they worked all day on the front of the truck.
All right, I saw sparks coming out from the rear end there. We're going to go down. Army has got Everett Jasmer, the owner of USA 1 right now.
We got it running just about 15 minutes ago, and possibly, we're not sure, possibly something got fatigued or broken part way last night when we rolled over and we missed it. And so on the qualifying run, the rear differential came out from underneath it, or partially anyway.
Well, I want to be the first to officially congratulate you personally for the fine job you've done in being the national champion. I know it's a goal you've been after ever since you became involved with the Monster Trucks. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. It's been a long, hard summer. It looks like the truck is starting to fatigue a little bit. We're going to have to get it back in the shop, get everything updated on it. We'll be back for the next season.
Maybe one of these guys, John Moore out of Lafayette, Tennessee, the no-problem machine against Pablo Huffaker, his name Paul Huffaker, out of Conroe, Texas, and just showing off.
Huffaker working that right lane for the Ford Camp to perfection. Look at this. No problems whatsoever with no problem. He's going to go on the trailer. Huffaker will advance to the next round, Richard.
So John Moore will head back to the volunteer state of Tennessee. Meanwhile, the last time these two met, Mike flipped the truck. He's had bad luck mechanically lately, and Mike recently just got married, Army.
But Richard's a fourth thing on his mind, too. He wants to be the last man to beat Rich Hoosier. He's not going to be that man.
Well, Rich Hoosier wins it in Bigfoot. He advances. Mike Witt and Stomper 1 actually lost this race at the starting line. Looked like a slow start.
Out of the right lane, Mad Dog just teamed up with Research and Development with Donati Cams to find some new horsepower, and they found it. Looky here. Win will be to the Mad Dog on the right lane, Richard.
And a nice run for Marvin Smith, the Stomper 2 Chevrolet. Not enough, though, as Marvin will head back to Jefferson City, Missouri, or actually Arnold, Missouri. A lot of drivers coming out of the state of Missouri, but for this National Invitational, as coming out next will be Gary Porter, Wadesboro, North Carolina, the Crusher Machine against a wild guy, Dale Harris and Casper.
Casper out of Pearl, Mississippi, working that left lane. The Chevrolet's trying to hold on. Richard, this is close.
It is so close, we cannot call a winner right now. As you see, they're coming across the final set of crunch cars. The finish line is coming up right there at the pole. Who made it across first? It looks like Dale Harris and Casper, the winner by the tread width of a tire.
Why, Sorek, he's a new man on the tour. A good running truck. Got to keep an eye on him. But speaking of keeping an eye, look at the red eye. Gravedigger coming out. Anderson skies it way high to advance in the next round. Boy, the Gravedigger, Richard, they love him wherever he goes.
That 1951 Ford of Dennis Anderson always puts on a show. We get ready now for a couple of Fords battling head-to-head. Rich Hoosier, Bigfoot, Pablo Huffaker, and just showing off.
Remember the last event for Hoosier? Huffaker wants to be the last guy to get a piece of the Bigfoot truck. Richard, look at that finish.
We cannot even call it topside. It was so close. Pablo Huffaker, Rich Hoosier, Bigfoot, and just showing off on a replay here. Guys, if you'll stop it for us here at the finish line, it looks like Rich Hoosier is the apparent winner in Bigfoot. We're going to miss Rich Hoosier. I'm going to miss the great sunglasses he always wears. A real fashion statement, Rich Hoosier. Is he going to win his final battle? This one against Awesome Kong and Steve Dane.
Kong comes out. Rich Hoosier is no longer in the sport of monster truck. Steve Dane was the last man to put Rich away in the Bigfoot truck. An era actually ended right there on that run, Richard.
But then again, there's only 2 Chevrolets in the finals.
All Chevrolet final. Texas against Missouri. This one's for bragging rights. Texas takes the win. What a shot. Steve Dane's going to be the man to beat. The 1989 tour. Back to Richard.
So the story tonight in Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, as we concluded the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge points race for the year, was a story of breaks. We had USA 1, the national champion, breaking and qualifying. We had Stomper break down and a head-to-head matchup with Bigfoot. And then we had the Gravedigger break down at the starting line for the semifinal race.
And once again, Steve Dane and Awesome Kong makes it 2 in a row to come away with the win. Had a harrowing run down this long course.
What happens, Richard, the ramps are actually too steep now. Track Builders Incorporated, Alan Jackson and his crew are going to come and knock these ramps down. The problem is, the steeper the ramp, the harder you're going to land on the front of the vehicle, and that's what's tearing them up in Montgomery.
It's going to be Jim Kramer and Bigfoot. He is a legendary figure in monster truck racing as he takes on Bob Brain and Wild Hare out of Jefferson City, Missouri.
Richard, it's kind of interesting. Both of these young men out of the state of Missouri, one in a Chevrolet, trying to make a name for himself, one in a Ford that has made a great name for himself, carrying the colors of Bigfoot. Kramer will advance with the blue Ford.
Jim Kramer and Bigfoot is trying to regain lost honor tonight in Montgomery. The last time we saw Bigfoot, he lost the national championship to USA 1.
Side by side, the winner should be paired against Bigfoot as he's already won. Who's going to be the Chevrolet to go against him? A good run. They're both up in the air. Mad Dog, I believe, Richard, from my viewpoint, looks to be the winner.
John Breen has pulled off an upset. He has beat the Stomper 2 machine. You see on this replay, John excelled in power there, coming across the final set of jump cars, took him right there at the finish line. I would call that an upset, Army.
Rod, that first round of qualifying seemed awfully tough out there. Dennis Anderson's not going to make it back. We just received word you're not going to be able to make the first round call. What happened?
Well, when I launched on that second set of cars, and it came down that nosedive, and I kind of missed the set of cars, it snapped my front knuckle, the steering knuckle, which is used for steering in the front. It split the bottom half, so if I were to try running like that, the tire would probably break off when I'm in the air in the next run. So we're just taking it. We're going to pull out tonight and get it ready for tomorrow.
So how tough is this course tonight, Army? Already Gravedigger out of the action, and now your national champion, Rod Litzow. Chandler Lloyd is making a bye run in overtime.
Little bit of problem. The tailgate bent. Oh, he's in trouble.
Look out! He has hit the wall, Army.
Chandler Lloyd, looks like the brakes went away on him, Richard. He's outside. Everything is okay, but you can see where he actually made contact with the outside retaining wall.
People standing in the corner down there didn't think everything was okay as they scatter. On the replay, you see right there, he hit that retaining wall. Really, that was probably good that he did that. It seemed to straighten up the truck.
Well, Richard standing right down here, he was coming directly towards us on the finish line. Had he not hit that wall, he would not have been able to get out of this building. Meanwhile, the Nightlife truck, he's a new kid on the block trying to make a name for himself, and look at this, a hole shot left lane. I don't know, it's awfully close. I believe the win will go to the Nightlife, yes.
Dave Wysorek may be a new kid on the circuit, but he looked like a veteran in that run. He knocks off Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher, and Nick Rossi has got his hands full.
Rich, I tell you, a lot of people don't realize this truck is actually owned by his brother, Jeff. He's hired to drive it. This is what he does for a living. He's awfully good at it. Meanwhile, the Jersey Outlaw will be disqualified. He did not cross the finish line properly.
Well, the reason being he got kicked off of those cars. Watch, Army, on the replay. He comes across, hits hard, bounces to the left, and nearly flips that truck over. He really did a fantastic job of saving the vehicle.
Yep.
As King Kong, driven by Steve Kane, is going to be taking on a real nice kid, Dave Wysorek in Nightlife.
So, Richard, Dave Wysorek is kind of the all-American boy. He's a new kid on the block, helps everybody out, drives the Chevrolet, gets a good lead in the right lane, but look at that Texas Ford, come back! Texas Ford will be going to the next round.
But another great, tight race. Dave Wysorek gives it his all, but he comes up short right here at the end. So Steve Kane and King Kong out of Killeen. Army, try saying that 5 times. Bet you can't do it. He advances to the semifinals, and this could be an interesting semifinal.
As a test lab, let's see what's going to happen on the run.
Hey, a whole shot.
School's out in the test lab. Awesome Kong just put him away big time, Richard.
A Wild Hare came back because he was the fastest loser in the first round.
The Kongs are in town. The winner gets to dance with Bigfoot for the championship. What happened here? A drive shaft loop fell out of the vehicle. Now, you're required to have 2. That was the 3rd strap, so he's okay. He will be able to go in the final.
All right, so do most of the monster truck drivers carry an extra one?
Yeah, just for safety. Like I say, the rules state you have to have a loop at the front and the rear of the drive shaft. That was one from the center.
All right, as you heard earlier in an interview with Steve Kane, driver King Kong, he said horsepower would determine the winner of this race. He also said Steve Dane and Awesome Kong had more horsepower, so in essence, Awesome Kong ought to win it, Army.
On paper, yes, but like Jim Kramer said a moment ago, anybody can still get in the final. We know it's going to be an orange truck against a blue truck. The question, will it be the orange Ford or the orange Chevrolet? And look at that Chevrolet come out.
What a hole shot.
Great driving by the kid out of Texas.
Steve Dane has done it again. He has won an Awesome Kong, and Army, he won it right there at the starting gate.
Came out a perfect light. He cut the Algos light to perfection. He'll be in the finals against Foote. Richard, you called it a showdown. That's exactly what it is. The kid out of Texas has never beaten Jim Kramer. He wants it bad. He's going after him. Kramer knows it. He's an old pro, but Kramer's got to hold off the kid out of Texas. Richard, I don't know. Look how close it is.
At the finish line, we cannot tell who won it. Watch on this replay, both of them come off side by side. Both, I guess you might say, Army got a hole shot. Bigfoot and Awesome Kong, I still can't say who won, as Steve Dane skied high and gave it his all trying to get this win. Let's go trackside in just a moment. Maybe, Army, you've got the officials down there. Maybe you can give us the winner of this final round in Montgomery.
Both drivers stepping out of their vehicles. Steve, you go over to congratulate Jim. Do you have any idea who won that race? From our viewpoint, we could not tell.
I was too busy thinking about stopping, Army. I really don't know.
Jim Kramer back into the truck. We just received word that Steve Dane was the official winner.
I've been running with Jim. I raced him so many times. I never had a chance to beat him. To me, he seemed unbeatable. You know, all the magazine stuff I read about him was true in Bigfoot. Finally, I did it one time. I gave it all. That truck ran all it was worth.
It probably only lost by a couple hundredths, but a couple hundredths will do it, you know. And whenever you're running Steve Dane, well, you got to run hard. He runs hard.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, Bigfoot, a class act. We'll be following the rest of the tour. Back to you, Richard.
Well, bad news for all of our Gravedigger fans. Dennis Anderson did come out to qualify. This is some tape from earlier this evening, but Army, once again, bad luck has followed Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger.
You know, all year long, like a little black cloud's been floating over one of the most popular trucks on the tour. What caught him this evening during qualifying against John Moore, made a beautiful run. The truck is making horsepower, but he blew a tire out right on the end, not able to get the tire back together. A flat tire is going to cost him.
So Dennis Anderson out of the competition here in Montgomery. We once again look at some taped highlights. This is Jim Kramer, Bigfoot. He goes out of the competition in qualifying.
He drew Stomper in a qualifying round, and halfway through lifted an engine, completely destroyed the top half of the engine. The supercharger came off of the vehicle. They don't know exactly what caused that. It's kind of a freak incident. We were down at trackside when it happened. The safety crew was right on the scene. The crew member came over and actually picked up part of the supercharger to show us what had let go on it.
Now, is this an unusual occurrence then on this circuit?
The Ford engine runs a longer snout on the supercharger, the front of the blower that the belt sits over. You can see the crew member holding it there. What happened? The engine coughed. When it coughed, that belt kept turning and pulled the front of the supercharger right off, Richards. You're going to see a brand new Chevrolet Carolina Crusher and a brand new Ford Bronco. No problem. But right now, for bragging rights, who's going to take the win? Look at John Moore. What a shot by the Ford camp.
That is probably the best run I've seen out of John Moore in the entire 1988 season. Bob Brain against the national champion, Everett Jasmer's USA 1 with Rod Litzow.
Chevrolet's a pair, no problem. Looky here, the USA is flying like an airplane. Beautiful Litzow driving job.
Easy win for Rod Litzow. He blows away the competition.
Jeff Dane is the owner of Awesome Kong and King Kong, but you get paid by how far you go. No love lost right here. They're going after money. The Chevrolet, looky here, we may be looking at an upset. That is definitely an upset, Richard.
You have got the upset in your pocket. Starvin Marvin Smith, the Chevrolet Stomper 1, has knocked off Steve Kane and King Kong.
He's proved it all year long. This is going to be a kid to watch in the future of the sport.
Well, the win will be right here at the start line, and it's going to be an easy one, it looks like, for Steve Dane. He gets loose, though, on the track. Awesome Kong has won it. Steve Dane moves on. He is trying to make it 4 wins in a row on the Renegades TNT circuit. That has never been done in the history of this circuit.
Dane, engine to the rear of the driver. Wysorek engine to the front of the driver. Chassis difference, that could win or lose this race. They're lined up, ready to go. Once again, Richard, the long, tall Texan goes to the winner's circle in the final round.
Steve Dane will face the national champion USA 1 in the finals. Last night he knocked off Bigfoot in the championship, and Steve Dane
Richard, remember, Steve Dane beat Bigfoot last night. If he can beat USA 1 tonight, that'll mean in one weekend he put the top 2 trucks in this Ford away. Let's see what the kid from Texas is going to do.
He's got him, Artie. Steve Dane has done it. 4 in a row for the kid out of Killeen, Texas. Knocks off the champion of 1988, Rod Litzow, in the USA 1 machine. Steve Dane is going to be the force to be reckoned with in 89. He is one happy son of a gun, and the crowd absolutely loves Awesome Kong as we go trackside.
Steve, you and Rod just put on a tremendous shot. I don't know what the time was on it, but it was awfully quick out there.
Yeah, I knew we were going to be running fast. The last one, me and him always, we go as hard as we can. And it's been going, he's been running really strong. I congratulate him. He's been running great.
Well, Steve, 4 in a row. You're the first man to ever do that on a Renegade Tour. 4 times. Now, we were talking earlier about you working your way from the bottom up. Son, you're on top. They're all going to be coming after you. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's lonely at the top. It only lasts a little while. Nobody can win every one. I tried real hard this weekend. I run my motor till it's ready to puke. It's super hot. And beating USA 1 today and beating Bigfoot has got to be the highlight of my career.
Well, congratulations go to both of you gentlemen, a couple of class fellas. Back to you, Richard, for the wrap-up.
4 Renegades TNT Monster events in a row. This is taped earlier. Mike Witt and Stomper, he had some problems qualifying.
Mike made a good start, but all of a sudden the engine went away. Then immediately Mike noticed the alcohol was on fire in the vehicle. He comes out with a halon fire extinguisher, knocks the fire down. Remember, an alcohol fire, you cannot see it.
So the bad luck of Mike Witt and Stomper continues. We're going to have to wait and see. He is scheduled to face John Moore, no problem, in opening round competition. We'll have to wait and see if he can get the Stomper 1 machine repaired and back out there to race.
Bream, he's out of Jeff City, Missouri. A small community, has a history for national championships, even at the high school sports level. But right now, we're talking pro monster truck racing, side-by-side, Chevrolet, Ford. Kramer trying to put the Mad Dog down. Look at the air Kramer gets. What a shot. Kramer's working his way back, Richard.
Jim Kramer returns to the Hoosier Dome. He's been here the past couple of years and flipped over.
He's definitely one of the best drivers in the Monster Truck Tour. They do a lot of experimenting with the drivetrain. He runs a dragster-style clutch here. You notice how the truck had a tendency to come on late. But look, John Moore puts him away. That's got to be a highlight of his year. No problem Ford, Richard. Finally got to the Stomper Chevrolet.
So John Moore, the veteran of 4 years on this Renegade circuit, moves to the quarterfinals, and so do we.
Everybody's starting to like this kid out of Texas, not because he wins. That's involved in it, but he's just a good kid. But right now,
he's dead at the line. Awesome Kong is out of it. The Barbarian is going to win. What bad luck for Steve Dane and Awesome Kong, Army.
Richard, the automatic transmission that took him 4 straight wins gave away in the Hoosier Dome. Bobby Bream will be working a left track. The engine located behind the driver. A unique part of that truck. It's an experimental truck. Meanwhile, Nightlife, relying on horsepower, working the right side of the track, comes onto the circuit and puts Bream away, but what a ride.
Nice win by Dave Wysorek. Nightlife out of Nebraska puts away the Breen brother. Rod Litzow, USA 1.
Witt with a Stomper. Had some fueling problems a little bit earlier. They'll be keeping an eye on that. They're off and running. Litzow, no problem, he says, with the oil leak we found. Litzow goes out for the win, but
Stomper has blown it, Army.
Completely lost an engine. About a $20,000 pop for Michael Buckwheat Witt in that Stomper Chevrolet.
Buckwheat?
It's his nickname. They've called him that for years.
Okay. Well, the bad luck continues for Mike Witt as he is out of the competition in Indianapolis. Meanwhile, Rod Litzow looked like he had no problems whatsoever with the USA 1 machine, and this could bring up an interesting final that's a possibility. USA 1 goes against Bigfoot. Till our opening show of 1989, St. Paul, Minnesota, to see the new Bigfoot truck with Jim Kramer. He's taking on the Barbarian right now, and Jim Miller in the semifinals.
Miller comes out against Bigfoot, but look, Kramer, Richard, it looks like he actually flies this truck. He just has a soft touch about him, but he's going to the final.
And Nightlife.
Wysorek comes into this run, has to be considered the underdog. The dream race would be USA 1 against Bigfoot. People that bought the ticket would love to see that, but Wysorek would like to be in there against Bigfoot. Not going to be the case. USA 1 and Bigfoot one. The dream final is set up, Richard.
But a good race by Dave Wysorek as he gave Rod Litzaw all he could handle. USA 1, though, makes it to the championship round.
Richard, the problem seems to be the front drive shaft. It was bent on the previous run. Now, Everett Jasmer, the owner and designer of the vehicle, I don't know if they're going to get back in this thing. We're keeping an eye on the track officials to find out. Everything else looks good, but the front drive shaft is bent. We could tell a moment ago when they were moving, it was slopping around. Back up to you, Richard.
All right, Army, let's find out if we can hear from Jasper himself if they plan on running the finals here.
Yes.
All right, so Army is just like it was all during 1988. USA won the Chevrolet against the Ford Bigfoot in the final for all the marbles in the Hoosier Dome. Only there's a new twist with the USA 1 machine.
Well, there's two new twists. Number one, the USA 1 is only going to have two-wheel drive. I don't know how safe that is. Number two, Jim Kramer is going to be driving the Bigfoot truck. So the big guns in the Bigfoot trying to put that USA 1 Chevrolet away, Richard.
And so your selection for the win?
Bigfoot.
And I'm going to agree with Army. Let's find out as we're ready for the finals in the Hoosier Dome. All right, Army, here we go. Ford, Bigfoot, Chevrolet, USA 1, they're off and rolling.
Hole shot by the Bigfoot truck. Kramer's going to take the win, and Rod Litzow, a smart drive. Two-wheel drive only. He didn't tear up any equipment. We will see that battle again in 1989, I'll guarantee you, Richard.
All right, so Jim Kramer finishes 1988 on a winning note in the Hoosier Dome.
First of all, we're going to congratulate Jim Kramer on a super job of driving out there, Jim.
Well, it got really squirrely, and I saw shades of last year and the year before, and I thought, this can't happen to me again.
What he's talking about on this weekend for the last 2 years, he's been on his head. Next year, this is over. This is 1988. We wrap it up. We put a bow on it. But we're coming out in a little bit for 1989. Is Bigfoot going to be making any changes? We're still trying to pump you for some information here.
You'll see a Bigfoot out here with the drastic changes, I tell you. It'd be a lot lighter, a lot faster, a lot more motor, a lot more agile. And it's going to be something to see.
Okay, so actually we had three big stories tonight. Number one, Steve Dane and Awesome Kong, his winning streak ended at 4 in a row. He broke in the quarterfinals. Story number two, USA 1 got to the finals, but he got there limping to the starting line. He broke his front-wheel drive. He raced in the finals with only two-wheel drive, and that brought the win to Bigfoot. So story number three is Jim Kramer and Bigfoot starting their big comeback for 1989. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Lake. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.